I am Laura Hart, and I am here today to talk about our current programs, what we're doing right now, what we're going to be doing in the short term, and some of my thoughts about the future for my company and for education in general. So, to begin with, Robo-Fun is a company that is on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. We are at 102nd Street and Broadway. And all summer long, we are running camps, classes, um, private lessons, birthday parties all year long, not just the summer. But right now is the heart of summer. And in the heart of summer, we run classes at a week at a time. So mornings are what we call physical computing or robotics or building, depending on the age of the child. Our programs run from 3-year-olds to 13-year-olds. And if you go to robofun.org, you will find us. So, as so that's what's going on right now. Keep in mind that sometimes people make decisions at the last minute and, oh, I want my child to come to camp and it's Sunday night. And if we have room, we will absolutely bring your child in. But often, if we put you on the waiting list, we need to check and make sure we have the right teacher student ratio. And then we will get back to you first thing Monday morning. So we hope that you will join robofun.org, join our mailing list. I am a mom as well as have run my company for 24 and a half years. And the point of today's talk is just to give you kind of a state of my company, where we are, where we've come, what we're doing. So I've covered that we're currently running a really amazing summer. And I am so impressed with the kids, with my staff. A funny moment was when I heard some howling, a child crying at the office, and I left my desk to see what was going on, because that's obviously not a good thing. And it was at dismissal. And I said to Noah, who is the amazing senior manager of our programs, what's going on? I didn't want to jump in. He's like, he just doesn't want to go home. He's had such a good morning. It's the last day. He doesn't want to go home. So as a business owner, I was sad that child was sad, but I also felt kind of good that it was that great for that child. I don't really want lots of kids to get to that state, but it meant that it was meaningful to him, and that was a nice moment. So what we're currently running, as I've talked about, is summer camp, mornings or afternoons or full day. And it depends on what you think your child can handle. Some kids do much better with a half a day of camp. Some kids do much better with a full day of camp. So you have the option with us not to sign up for the full day, and that may meet your needs a little bit better. So my next thing that I want to talk a little bit about is our new programs. We have 2 brand new programs right now that new applications, new classes for your children. And those 2 new programs are, we are teaching a new robotics platform called the Spike, and it's phenomenal how much the kids and our staff are liking it. I spent all spring working with some of my mentors, my teachers, on this curriculum, and we tested it, and then you kind of let it go, like letting your child go off to college. And what was amazing is how well it's going. We've learned that the kids are building more quickly than we thought. We have more blueprints for them, but they are loving it. And if you sign up to our mailing list, you'll see my blog that comes out twice a week. And I've been sending pictures of the projects. So one of the latest projects was a robot that could draw. So if you're of my generation and remember going to the fair and you went to one of the booths where you put paint down and then this thing went spinning around, we have the thing that goes spinning around, and kids put their pen or pencil in the middle of it and then have it draw often concentric shapes or random shapes. And it's really, really amazing. And again, one of our big problems is getting kids to stop at the end of the 3 hours for the morning session. I want to add thank you to our audience today. And if you have any questions as I'm going along, please let me know. So that's what we're currently running, summer camp, as I talked about, but we also have a lot of private lessons or small group lessons. And we will come to you if you're in Manhattan, or you can come to us for those. We also have a lot of birthday parties right now. So the new programs are the Robotic System, which we're teaching for 6 to 13-year-olds, obviously at different levels of difficulty. And it's a beautiful system. I've been working with Lego Robotic Systems for literally 24 and a half years, and this one solves a lot of problems. The coding environment is very clean and simple and easy, and the builds that we are creating and are just very, very nice for the children. So that by the end of a week, they've really accomplished usually 2 or 3 projects. So that's one of our new programs. Our second new program is a curriculum for 5th through 8th graders in Python, the programming environment Python. And we are having, again, amazing success. And what I've learned is that curriculum development is not an easy thing. And a team of us worked on it all spring, and we tested it with a few kids at one stage, and then we would make revisions, test it again, until you get curriculum that can work really, really well. And it's been, the best answer or the best symptom I have that it's working is how engaged the kids are and how supported our staff feel in teaching it. So that's very exciting. We often mention, so my company, the parent or the full name of it is called Vision Education and Media, but we go by Robo-Fun. And Robo-Fun indicates the activities that happen at our studio on 102nd and Broadway. However, Vision Education and Media is working in somewhere around 100 schools a year. And we do the same thing we do in the studio, and we do it in the school. So as you're watching this, if you're like, wait a minute, I want to get, I don't want to drop my kid off at Robo-Fun. I want to have it happen at their school. We're in all 5 boroughs, and we're happy to speak with the school and set it up. And for resourced schools, they tend to have the monetary ability to pay either during the day or after school. For those schools who are in underserved communities, we write grants and we get written into grants for those programs. So my goal is to give positive learning to as many children as we can. And so I am thrilled by the challenge of a school that really wants our services and to work with them to find a way to fund it. And the last thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is our National Science Foundation grant. So we've been in business for 24 years. I have a master's from Harvard. I had the amazing opportunity to work with some of the founders and continue to work with some of the founders from the MIT Media Lab of some of the software we use. So I was very involved in literally 26 years ago in the development of Lego robotics. I continue to be involved in the development of coding environments. And during those 26 years, we received 2 National Science Foundation grants, and we've just received our 3rd one in partnership with Teachers College. And this is really exciting. What we're doing in this program is working with children in underserved schools or underserved communities. Hopefully the schools are not underserved, but we'll see. And one of the schools is in Brooklyn, and one of the schools is on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. And we are working with a robot called the Finch, which I've shown in other of my Heart to Hearts. It's a little robot that looks like a little bird, sort of. And what we're trying to do in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade is improve the teaching of mathematics so that kids want to continue to learn and don't make judgments that math isn't their thing. So that is super exciting. Year one of the grant, we're working with the teachers, and at various times during the year, I will be coming back and showing some of the activities that we're doing with the teachers so that they then become empowered learners and can go back into their school using these particular, using this robotic system with their children. So I want to sort of end with what's it like to run a small company in New York City um, that tries to help kids have better learning experiences. And my deep goal is to help kids love to learn and to want to keep learning, whether it's robotics or piano or any area of STEM. I really believe that these are all interrelated, and a focused child who is passionate about one thing, that passion will be shared with other areas of their life. So, what's it like to run a small company? As I was thinking about this talk, I was thinking, really, I was extremely naive when I started my company, and I didn't understand that there are two sets of skills. One, the set of skills, which is how do you run a company successfully? And the other is what does that company do? And I was pretty good on the what does this company do? I knew how to teach. I knew how to teach teachers. I knew how to teach kids. But I feel as though I've gotten an MBA on the road while running my company. And it's going great. And it's a very time consuming, constantly engaging thing that takes a lot out of a CEO. But two things I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to answer. I have a comment from Ellen Barnett, which I will address. The two things are, one, it's really important to have people around you when you run a company that don't have the skills that you have, and to understand that you can't have all the skills. So I believe I'm good at leadership and at curriculum development and at coming up with goals for my team. And I have other people in my team that are very, very good at other parts of this. So you need to understand that you can't do it all yourself. That's number one. Um, Number two, which sounds perhaps, well, it's not really counterproductive, is that you have to make sure that you stay charged and engaged in what you're doing. If you're not feeling engaged, it will trickle down. And when I think about becoming sort of charged and engaged, a big part of that is making sure you don't work too hard and making sure that you have things outside of work that are very important to you. I often find some of my best ideas happen when I'm not working, so that other parts of your brain can work on things that will eventually help my company. Okay, Ellen Barnett asks, what kind of skills will my child develop through attending Robo-Fun classes? Do the skills lend themselves to school-based classes? Okay, so the skills that your child will learn, they'll certainly learn one, the particular application of the class, if it's robotics or coding or Minecraft and circuitry. What they will learn is how to take a big problem, like I want my robot to do a dance and to sense another robot coming at it, and when they both sense each other, to do a dance. So that's a big thing, but the technology is such that that is completely breakdownable step by step. So what they'll learn is, okay, well, what are the steps? Do you know how to make your robot move, for one? Do you know how to use a sensor similar to a barcode sensor when we go into the grocery store and run something through to find out the price? Do you know how to add a sensor to your robot? Have you designed your dance for your robot? So a lot of what we're trying to do is put the onus onto the kids to design what their robot's going to do, and we're there to help them. So in a lot of school environments, it's very linear. You're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And that can play a role in what we do, but the big decisions of what is your robot going to do, we want children to own that, because we believe that they will be much more involved in finding solutions. And we're there as their guide, their coach in finding those solutions. But if it's their idea, it will go much further. So do the skills lend themselves to school-based classes? Absolutely. I mean, what we're trying to do, and Ellen, thank you for your question, is we're trying to get kids who are independent learners, who can make a goal and can take the steps to meet it. And that doesn't happen in one day or one week of camp, but it gradually happens. And it, this is the skill we want for kids in all different disciplines. So part of what we want is focus. Part of what we want is grit. Part of what we're getting from these kids is both focus and grit. We want them to be excited about what they're doing and to see that learning is a really exciting and fun thing. And I believe that school-based classes are trying to do the same thing. If your question is, are they going to be more prepared for standardized tests? I'd say yes and no. We're not covering the content of standardized tests, but what we are covering is an understanding of, okay, what's the problem and what are the steps I need to solve? And that applies to all sorts of learning, from learning in school to learning about how to get a job. The other thing that we really work on is social skills. Kids have the choice often of working alone or working with a partner. And the social skills needed to have a successful relationship with your partner are really important skills for having a successful relationship when you're on the job. So those are all really important skills that we are working with. I would say that we're very sensitive to all different kinds of learners and all different kinds of needs of children. So that if your child is not ready to share at 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, we're not going to make them share, because they're not going to get more ready by having a partner and not knowing how to do it. We will encourage them and we will show them ways to do it, but we won't sort of force things that they're not ready for. The other thing is we have a lot of conversations with children. So we'll have an end of the class. What did we do today? Who had a successful day? Who'd like to show their project? Now, with the who'd like to show their project, we talk about, how do you give feedback? When somebody's showing their project, should you be working on your project? Should you be part of the group? How would you feel if somebody was working on their project and not looking at you when it was your turn? So we're trying to teach a lot of learning social skills as well. I'd like to end that we tend to get a lot of very, very smart, quirky kids, where some of the hard times for them is not during class, but during lunchtime or when we go to the playground, because they're not quite sure how to handle the social situation. We're ready and we're used to that. And it's a fun challenge for us to see a child at the beginning of the week who wanted to sit on the bench and read a book through recess, to the child who we gently push to try to play with us or to play with other kids by the end of the week is leading a game. So I'd like to also end this talk with, we love working with kids. We love their energy, their ideas, their philosophy of just jumping in, which as adults, unfortunately, we sometimes lose. And your children are in good hands with us. And I am so proud of my staff for having spent time with me. I have great longevity with my staff, for helping me build something that I hope makes the world a nicer place and provides children with amazing opportunities to learn. Thank you for being with me today. And thank you, Ellen, for your comments. Have a great day, everyone.